first sit of the season, my first ever whitetail deer hunt in the state of Kentucky. And it's September the 2nd, it's opening day in Kentucky. We are hunting with the Rival TV guys, and so basically it's velvet hunt. We expect the deer to still be in velvet, but they're inching closer and closer every day. And the problem that you have with that is when the bucks lose their velvet, their patterns change. So we're kind of depending on the camera data that we've been getting for the last month or so of kind of the feeding patterns of these deer along these ag fields in the evening. I've been saving this can for 2 years for just the right opportunity. I mean, I even broke the seal off of it for the first time. I wonder, from what I've learned, this stuff's making me itch.
You're probably allergic to it.
We are set for our first sit of the 2023 season. We're in Kentucky, and we're right on the bank of the Ohio River. We've not been here. Some friends of ours set up some spots for us to hunt, so we've never actually seen this spot in person. And I honestly didn't realize by looking on the map, it's basically a straight bluff down to the Ohio River. It looked like a kind of wider block of woods, but it's really just a kind of a bench, and then it looks like a bluff down to the river. So I'm guessing these deer are bedding in a kind of a draw off of this bluff to the east of us, that or to the west of us, and they're coming out from this corner or out from that draw and working the edge of this field. We got a camera down here in the corner, and it's been here for a month or so, and there's 3 bucks specifically that are mature that we would shoot. One is a really nice deer. The other 2 are nice mature deer. And things are changing, you know. Every day they get closer to losing their velvet. And when they do that, they kind of change their summer pattern. So if it were 2 weeks ago, we could probably almost pinpoint the time that these deer are moving, coming to the beans and moving and doing all that. But right now, they're still frequent enough that we got a good chance. And I've never actually killed a deer in velvet. I missed a deer in velvet years ago, and that's the only deer I've ever shot at in full velvet. So I'm not going to be too picky if he's mature and he's in full velvet. I'm probably going to go ahead and take my chances. So we're right on the bank of the river, like we can hear people talking in boats as they go by. I mean, it's right there. So I think the deer are probably bedded pretty close. So when they get up, they're not going to be far from us. We'll just have to see what happens. It's going to be tight, but it looks good. Tons of beans out here. There's probably some acorns dropping on some of these oak trees, are starting to. So we got all the scenario is all right. Everything is right. The wind is pretty good for what we think the deer would probably do. So the biggest problem with hunting like this early season is it's so green and it's so soft that a deer can literally pop out in bow range on the edge of this field and us not even know it. And if we're sitting down and not ready, you know, you can get caught like that really easy. We just don't have the vision, and you don't have the sound of the leaves when they fall and everything. So we got to be alert, but we got about 2 hours, 2.5 hours until dark, and hopefully we start seeing some deer filter out towards these beans, and hopefully one of us what we want to shoot. Fingers crossed, deer season 2023 is underway. a giant, but it's our first afternoon. It's our first sit of 2023. And so the thing is, there was three really solid 8 points hitting this spot real regular, coming to the beans from this corner. And one of them was a little bit better than him, mostly just because he had some kickers and stuff. But he hadn't showed up here in, I think the last daylight picture we had was almost 2 weeks ago. He's still been here at night some, but, you know. And honestly, I wasn't going to wait around and see, you know, if we just got that luck that he started daylighting again. And this spike has been out here for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. And I knew when that spike came out, I'm like, this time of the year, there's got to be a bachelor group bedded in here somewhere. And I figured if we could just wait it out and not spook this spike, that as it got later, that eventually a bigger deer, or at least more bugs, would come to this corner and make their way to the bean. And sure enough, I heard him coming up the bluff behind us.
I think, did he cough back in there?
I think he might have coughed or something.
I heard something in there.
Spike kept looking back in there, and I seen him coming. And, you know, sometimes it's just meant to be, because, honestly, this spike has been at 20 yards. And when the deer got maybe 5-10 yards from coming out of the woods, the spike kind of perked up and turned all the way around facing the other way, and it allowed me to get shifted and get my bow. And honestly, when it's hot and everything that's going on, I wasn't waiting. I wasn't waiting at all, because anything can happen. And I'm honestly, the wind's been shifting a little bit, and I've been worried that spike was going to smell us. So, but he ran about 50 or 60 yards and back towards our trail that we walked in on, and then fell dead. So we were really worried I was going to shoot a deer and he was going to go down this big hill behind us. But maybe the new Bear Execute 30 is a good luck charm, because this is the first time I've ever hunted with it. The first sit I've ever made with it. And I just absolutely 10-ringed that deer. 50, 60 yards and he's dead. So, full velvet. I don't know what else you could come to Kentucky and ask for. It's freaking awesome. So we're hunting with the guys from Rival TV. They picked up, started wearing SKRE this year. They invited us to come here. They've got several farms leased in this area, and they said, hey man, come make a velvet hunt with us. Well, I was pretty excited, because where we're at down south, by the time the season opens, there's very rarely ever a deer in velvet. And I've tried to make a few early season velvet hunts in different places. And honestly, I've killed deer on these hunts, but they were already out of velvet. And I've never had the chance. And so I jumped all over it. And
The deer looked like he was pretty wide.
he was wide, and his G2s are long. He's kind of crab-clawed on one side. Joe said, you're the only one that has deer on him. I'm just sending him a wink. They saw that deer.
Yeah. Well, they're about to see us now, so.
Bart said shoot that 8 point. So Bart doesn't.
Go sit in front of the camera. Say, I missed. Send that picture with the bloody arrow.
I told y'all I felt like I 10-ringed him. And that's what it's supposed to look like right there. He got up to the kind of the horizon.
Did he cut in here, or did he run down this edge?
Well, he went out in the beans and he started making his way back. And then he stopped and started. And he can't be more than 10 or 15 yards off the road. Blood.
Oh, that's gotta be him right there.
There he is.
Full velvet.
Full velvet, dude. How awesome is that? Huh.
That's pretty cool.
That summer coat. We came and we conquered. He's my first ever velvet, and it was on the first hunt, opening day of the season. A lot of firsts on this hunt, and like, we got a long season ahead. We got to grind a lot of different hunts in a lot of different places. And honestly, I saw this deer coming from behind us. He come up from the river bottom, and I actually thought he was one of the bigger 8 points that they had gotten pictures in here when I saw him in the woods. But when he came out and I saw his frame, width, and G2s, I knew he wasn't a giant, but a good buck, a really solid opening day buck with a bow and full velvet. And it's like I said, I've never killed one in full velvet, so I wasn't going to be real picky. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud to notch a tag on my first ever velvet deer and kick the season off with a big success. So now we get to go back to camp and celebrate with the guys and all of that fun stuff, and this is what it's all about, man. So I would, you know, y'all gotta, we don't have to go hunting this evening, and it's hotter than it was yesterday. And I would like to have the deer out here for us to give y'all an example of what y'all are after this afternoon. But y'all slept in, and I got up and tended the deer, so he's all cut up and we're done. But
Is his head still in the beer refrigerator?
yeah, so
Bart's name's on the.
so let me tell you something. If you have a wine cooler beer refrigerator, and it's made like this one here, it's deeper than it is wide, but it's tall. So if your deer's like this, if you turn him like that, he'll slide right in there. And if your name's not on the Airbnb, you don't have to worry about the blood leaking in there.
Well, when they put the specs on this Airbnb, it said cooler for deer head. So
It's perfect.
There you go.
we are in Kentucky. I mean,
Trying to get lucky.
The one thing I'm trying to do, though, like, that's most important to me, obviously, is this is my first ever velvet hunt. And we did a podcast a while ago, and we talked a little bit about it, but we talked about this style of hunt. And the thing for me is I've gone on these hunts several times, and the deer's never in velvet when he shows up. You know, I'm always,
well,
like
I
you were
told
talking about
that
that.
deer to hold his velvet a couple days
Well, I
longer.
appreciate it. That's why you're a good friend,
And
Bart.
you know, I
Toddy.
wasn't gonna gar hole you. The
But-
first evening. Now this evening
Well,
I would have. But, you know.
But now you're invited on the hunt, and you killed the first day. So I hope you enjoyed your one and only invitation.
Hey, don't feel bad about that. And I heard that last year. And guess who's on the lease this year?
Yeah.
So don't pay no attention to that.
Yeah, they were doing heroes, and Joe's up there framed up, and Bart and Adam sitting there looking at each other. Bart goes, "Well, Joe, I hope you enjoyed your one and only time to Cooperstown."
Yeah, I'm inviting us. We're still gonna have fun. We got a whole weekend to hopefully help y'all get some deer out of the woods this evening. So
Yes, sir.
Glad you
It's
could
been
come.
fun.
I'm glad
Yeah,
you
man.
could work it into your schedule and make it happen.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm glad, and y'all get to
Roll Tide.
roll tide.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Well, let's get our bows out and let's show Bart how to actually.
We
shoot
need to
them.
work
Like,
on Bart a little bit.
Yes.
Y'all calm
I'm gonna
down.
tell y'all. Let me tell you something before Colin turns the camera off. The deer that I shot yesterday, Bart would have never killed him. And let me tell you why. Because there was one limb hanging down like this, and I didn't really notice it until I had already drawn. And so I had to stop and wait and let him keep walking. And Bart wouldn't have done that. Bart would have went, whop!
Hit a shot through the limb.
I'd have shot through the tree, dog.
The arrow over here in the beams and all that. Bart's got a quick draw. We need to work on him a little bit. So.
Quick draw.